tournament here at Shelbyville. 20K guarantee. Got almost 100 players signed up now. They're calling me the young buck. I guess I'm the young kid on the block. Everyone else seems like they're a bit older and grayer, for sure. I'm not gray yet. I hope not. But it's yeah. I just started out pretty bad. I 3-bet with ace 8 suited in mid position. Not real good because I had multiple callers early on. Everyone's calling everything, right? No one's folding pre. So, and flop comes an ace. I bet. Call. Not a surprise. 2 hearts. Turn was another ace. So I'm thinking, well, I should bet this again for value with straight and flush draws out there. I'm probably good now with the other ace coming, and bet and call. And then the river was check. And then the other guy had ace jack. So that's, especially in early position, mid position, that's too light of a 3-bet for sure. Even though I was suited, it doesn't matter. It was way too light of a 3-bet, especially when everyone calls behind you. And then I'm not gonna. I mean, I could easily have ace king, ace queen there being a 3-better, but I'm not gonna try to get a guy off trip aces. That's for sure, because it just isn't gonna work. Can't even get people off top pair. So. And then right after that, I had queen 10 and 10 come. It was all 10 like low cards. And a guy calls me down. The river went check because I wasn't sure if I was good now. And maybe he'd bet a flush draw. But the thing is, well, he checked back. He didn't. He could try to turn this draw into a bluff, but thankfully he didn't. And I had queen 10. He had king 10. So right off the bat, I lost a third of my chips. But then I kind of went on a heater there. I did pretty well. I had pocket kings. The guy raised and doesn't raise a whole lot and call. 900, call. And blinds are like 2 and 3. I raised to 4,000 with pocket kings in the small blind. Both guys call. And one guy thought about rejamming and he just called. He said he had ace king. I don't like his play there. I think he needs a 3-bet ace king there. And then if I 4-bet, he can think about folding, which I would do obviously with kings. But flop like king 10-7 deuce or with 2 diamonds, something like that. And I bet like 7,000. He jammed for like 25,000. And people just overplay their hands. I've never folded kings here because, you know, you would think, oh, he's got a set, right? Fold. No, he had jack 10. He had top pair with a jack kicker. And I held, thankfully. So, again, kind of a live thing where it makes no sense at all to raise just top pair there. But, and jam. None at all. I guess he's protecting in case. I think the thought process is people raise to protect in case they have a flush draw, but that's just wrong thinking. Especially being the 3-better, I could easily have an overpair and you're only getting called by a better, probably. So, because when I called, he didn't like it. And, yeah, if you don't like it when you're getting called, you probably shouldn't be betting. Kind of a poker 101, so pretty much. I don't like his jam. But, yeah, I got a bunch of chips now, so we're on break, and that's about it. Break number 2. Kind of same as where I was. I went down, had a number of hands I lost in a row, and I came back. Mistake I made, I don't know how much of a mistake. Late position to cut off, trying to steal the blinds with queen deuce of diamonds. But a guy 3-bet, and the guy went all in, obviously folded. Cannot think of any big, interesting hands on this one, so time to take a break and see how it goes, I guess. So we're at the next break here. A couple of hands to talk about. One was got limped multiple ways. 1,600. I'm down on the button. I look at ace 6 off. Not a good hand. I probably shouldn't even played it, but made it like 5,000. I got like 4 callers, or 3 callers. I mean, it was 3 or 4 callers. Anyway, the flop comes like ace 2-4. Good flop in my hand. I got top pair. I just checked to me. I bet. Big blind calls. Everyone else folds. Turn is like an offsuit. 7 was check. River is like a blank, like a queen or something. Checks again. And now I bet really small on the river because I feel he doesn't have much, but he's got a pair. I'm just trying to sucker him in and call me with some lower pair. It is a thin bet. Because if he's calling me on the flop, there was a chance because it was a flush. It was not a flush on the board. That it was a straight draw though. So anyway, I bet real small, and he thought about it forever and agonized, and he called me and he hit ace 8, so he had me out kicked. I had a couple hands where I had some kicker problems like that. So questionable whether or not I should even play that, I guess. And then I had one hand where it got me a ton of chips. I had ace of clubs, eight of clubs, raising the cutoff. Number of callers. We got some interesting hands here. This next break, I got folded to me. I think there was one limper. Got to me on the button. I had 5 of spades, 3 of spades. I raised. Big blind called. Everyone else folded. The flop comes 5-5 deuce with 2 hearts. And I flop trips. I'm like, loving life, right? So he checks to me. I bet like half pot, 10 into 20. He min clicks it back to 20,000. And I just felt like a lot of these recreational players, you know, if they're raising you, they're never folding. And it's hard for him to put me on a 5 when I raised. So I ended up jamming for like 60,000. And he couldn't wait to get it in. And he had king, queen of hearts. So there's 2 hearts on the board. He thought his king and queen was good, obviously, if it came, but it wasn't. But a heart came on the river. So that kind of hurt me a little bit. But I'm still alive, still grinding up. I've just lost quite a few chips. Run on some bluffs too, but I kind of like my bluffs. One in particular was I raised an early position with king, jack, king of clubs, jack of diamonds. And I had a couple callers. I think I had 2 callers behind me and the big blind called. And the flop came 10, 7, 4, 2 spades, 1 club. I might have been 2 clubs on the board. Yeah, I think it was 2 clubs on the board because I had like a backdoor flush draw. So I got checked through. Everybody checked. Turn was an ace. And actually, I only had 1 guy behind me. I'll take that back. So there's 1 guy, 3-handed. It's not terrible. 1 guy on the big blind, another guy behind me. Turn was an ace. Check, check. And I just felt, yeah, there's 2 guys ahead of me. Check, check. Comes to me. And I'm like, this is a good card to represent. I mean, it's just, everyone checked the flop. And now the turn gets checked through. And it's such a draw-heavy board. There's like clubs and spades on the board now. So I decided to bet like close to pot, repping the ace. And unfortunately, the 1 guy behind me on the button had ace-jack. And he didn't fold. It was like for 2,000 more, so I called, and all I had was a gut shot, and I missed. So, yeah, that didn't work out, but since I only had 1 guy behind me, and I was a pre-flop raiser, I do like my bluff, even though it didn't work out. There's only 2 big hands I can think of right now that are kind of interesting, so that's it. On to break 4 now, I think, something like that. Oh, well. We're on the break again. We're at the final table now. Again, 9-handed or 10-handed. 10 doesn't play much. It pays like $800 if that for a $300 buy-in. $9,000 for first. So it's, again, I don't like how these guys do their payouts because it's very top-heavy. Mad River and the Reserve, especially the Reserve, does a real good job as far as their payouts. It's not so damn top-heavy. I mean, 700 versus $9,000, that's a big difference. I have to keep that in mind, though, as far as how I play. Don't go too crazy. So, anyway, I dribbled down to, I have less than 30 bigs. I just haven't really caught anything. I've been really card dead. Because I picked up like 90,000, raising in the cutoff with Queen Jack, got like 5 callers, like 110 in the pot. And Jack 5, Jack 5-3, something like that, with 2 hearts, and I bet 75, like over like half my stack, and then everyone folded, thankfully. So now I got like 30 bigs. Pocket's really bloated easily because there's so many damn callers if you raise pre. So guess we'll see how it goes. That's where I'm at now. So I got knocked out in 4th. Cashed out 21. I could have agreed to a chop for like 4,600. At the time, though, I had like almost $1 million in chips. One other guy had $1 million in chips. The other people on the table all had like a couple ladies, and a guy had like maybe 400,000 in chips or something. And then the one guy, Carlos, they all wanted to chop. I refused to, and I don't regret the decision, even though it cost me money, because I'm way more skilled than every one of those people. I mean, it's not even close. So it's just financially stupid for me to not chop there. And I think the Carlos guy took it personal. He was like, you know, anytime I bet, he'd raise. He went crazy. Yeah, and then I was in good shape when he shoved. The problem with him is he just goes all in. Like he'll go on for like 800,000 into 100,000 pot. I mean, just the blinds are 20 and 40, and he'll just shove for $1 million with ace jack like pre-flop. So that's the level of players I'm against. So he did that with ace jack, and I had 15 bigs or something. I had ace queen. I snap called him, and unfortunately it was a chop. And then I just dwindled down. I couldn't really catch anything. Blind versus blind with the big stack, and he's doing what he should be doing, which is really bullying people. But I just completed, and the flop is well, it was like 20 and 40. The thing I don't really like, I'm gonna complain about it, is they never double the blinds, but when everyone's short, now they're doubling the blinds. So you go from like 25 bigs to 12 like instantly, and it's just, you should never change up the structure just to get people out of here. I had no idea they were going to do that, so that was part of the reason that got me short. And so anyway, people were catching kings and ace king and all kinds of shit, 4-handed, 5-handed, and I'm like, geez, oh Pete, I look down at ace deuce, I think I got the nuts, you know. You should 5-handed, but anyway, basically what happened is 40,000 ante, 40,000 big blind, 20,000. I only started out with 300. I don't think it's a shove here, but it's just, there's 120 out there, 20 to call. So it's worth seeing a flop. So I just put in the other 20. Now the pot's 120,000, 40 times 3. Flops and comes 6-5 deuce rainbow, and I bet. Not a whole lot, but it's just small. It's just 60,000 or so, about half pot size bag. And the bully guy jams, and he's never doing that with a straight. He's never doing that with a set, and he's just being a big bully, like just going crazy and silly. So I'm not folding a pair of sixes here, top pair. So I called, and he had 7 deuce. He had bottom pair, and sure as shit, he 5-outed me. If I had won that, I would have been up to 700,000 in chips, and then that's a new ball game. But got 5-outed. I mean, what can I do? I don't really regret anything. As far as the only thing I don't like is why they all of a sudden double blinds. That was that's a load of crap. And I did have one time where I had pocket jacks, and I raised like over 30-40% of my stack with jacks. And if I'm putting in that much in, like 5-handed, you can't raise fold when a couple of times I raised folded, and I should never do that. Like, I need to put in half of your stack, and then it comes out bad, and then you got to fold. Like, I had ace queen, and put in a third of my stack, and the flop comes 6-5 deuce, and silly Carlos guy doesn't know what he's doing. He jams. I think, like I said, he was pissed that I wouldn't chop, so he's trying to take it out on me or something. But I'm like, maybe I can call, but I feel like I can just wait. I don't know if I'm good. Any pair beats me, but it's like one of those things that I should have just jammed pre. What am I doing? Raise, and then it comes low, and then I have to fold. No, it was king queen. I had king queen suited. That's what I had. So he limped down the button actually, and I raised. And he just threw in his chip call, like he didn't want to call, but he's like, fuck it, I'm calling you. And then it comes 9-4 deuce. And then he jams, like, what am I going to do with king queen high? Again, that was a spot where I should have just jammed pre. When you're that short, I should just jam pre. So I don't know what I was thinking there, but that's it. I hope you guys learned something from this. Even if you have any questions. If anyone is interested in helping me out with doing a little... I would like to talk about stuff, but then actually have like, this stuff, hands I talk about actually up on the screen. If you do that kind of stuff, editing, and you're not too expensive, let me know. Okay, thanks guys. Again, go to pokerpro.us.com, and eventually I'll make some changes to their website and add some stuff. I do want to turn around and have a couple of suggestions. The thing I don't like about this horseshoe is, again, I didn't like the fact the blinds double late. And the other thing, I think they're doing that just to get you out of there, but I didn't expect that, you know. If you think you got plenty of chips and you're doing fine with 30 bigs and you got a skill advantage versus the other players, well, let's play, right? Well, all of a sudden the next level comes, and now you got 15, you miss a couple hands, now you're down to 12, 10 big blinds. Oh shit, right? So, and the other problem is they got a big blind ante, so it doesn't go from 10-20, it goes from 10-20-20, which is 50 a round, to 20-40-40, which is 100,000 a round. Because you got to put in 80,000 now with the big blind ante, and that's huge, you know. So, yeah. And then the other thing I was going to say is their payouts are absolutely ridiculous. I got knocked out in fourth, 2,100. Winner gets over $9,000. So that's just, if you go to Mad River or other places and stuff, you'll see there's an eventual, like, you know, fourth place will get 4,000. Third place will get 6,000. You know, next one, I mean, it'll slowly jump up. The big thing with this tournament and the final tables is ICM. You can make the final table, you don't even get $1,000. First place is $9,000. That should never be the case. That's just a terrible payout structure. They want to say that so they can say, oh, we're giving out $10,000 for first. But that's just a terrible payout structure. Because you got to get in the top 3 to get any kind of a payout. So yeah, I don't know. Their payout structure is terrible, and their rake is high. They double the blinds constantly. A lot of these times in these tournaments, you make day 2 and you only win like $200 for a $200 buy-in, like, and that's going through day 2, multiple day 1s. It's like, it's just, yeah. They don't structure things well. They don't do things well, which is probably why they don't have a good turnout and not many people go. When next door in Ohio, there's like 10 times the turnout with $500,000 prize pools. So, and they're lucky to meet the guarantee on 20K on this. So, they really don't know how to run a poker room, which is why, I mean, there's usually only a few tables going, and it's dead most of the time. They got a really nice poker room too. It's just, they keep switching supervisors. No matter what they do, none of them have a clue how to run a poker room. Probably because none of them play poker. So how would they know how to run it or what to do? But anyway, that's it. I'm signing off. How about a couple more things? Number one, like I've done before, is some of the spots I was in, 5-handed, where I felt I should have shoved with like so many bigs and that. I am going to run those on a Hold'em Resources calculator, which is a sim that takes into account. It's like it's a solver, but it takes into account payout structures and ICM. So I'm going to run those spots. Go to pokerpro.us.com and you can see me run those spots. If these videos get better, what I'd like to do is just refer to, okay, I'm going to run the sims and stuff on this if you want to see them. They're only, what I got them, like $3 a piece to watch the whole video going through the sims and the analysis, or I think it's like $7 a month to get all the videos. So I'm slowly building that library up. I lost a lot of my videos from YouTube in the past, which was just lovely, but I'm restarting things up, and in a day like today where I ran across some spots where I'd like to run sims shorthanded, I'm going to do that because I want to get better and better at heads up and short and shorthanded, 4-handed, 5-handed, that kind of stuff. You got to take into account your opponents too, of course, but so I'm going to do that. I'm going to run through those. And the other thing I want to point out is everyone always wants to chop, right? Like, they can get more money, maybe we can get, third place money or whatever if we all chop now 5-handed, et cetera, or second place money. I mean, if the money's that important to you, which, I understand, then go ahead and, like, I think it would if I had chopped with the guys, I would have made an extra $2,500 versus now I only made $2,100. So, yeah, I mean, it would have been nice to get that extra $2,000, but now I have some short-term spots that I'm going to run on sims and go through and see a little bit how I should have played them. I also came in second in a tournament where we agreed not to chop, and we had a heads-up battle, three-way battle, and heads-up battle for a while. And after that heads-up battle, I went and analyzed some stuff and ran the sims on that heads-up to see if I was playing things right or if I should have done things more. One of the things I noticed that this guy was doing, which again I don't agree with this shove with bottom pair because you're only getting called by better, which is where he 5-outed me. I thought that was terrible, but he was putting a lot of pressure on people, like really bullying with his stack, which is what you should be doing. And that's what I should have done when I was heads up with a 3-1 chip lead a month ago, heads up. And then I noticed when all of a sudden he was a 3-1 chip lead, he was bullying me, and I'm like, fuck, why didn't I do that? You know, I was not pushing and bullying as much as I should have been. You know, jamming with any ace, for example. It's hard for him to call unless he happens to hit a real good hand. And I could have just whittled him down, and that's what he did to me, and that's what I should have done to him. And this guy, too, is bullying, which is what you're supposed to do. So I'd like to go through and look at some of these spots and see where I should be bullying more. But my point is, you don't know how to play shorthanded. A lot of the reason people want to chop is because they don't know how to play shorthanded, let alone heads up. If you start playing a lot of shorthanded in these tournaments, start playing heads up, playing them through instead of chopping, that is valuable experience that you can go back and learn from. And if you start getting good at shorthanded and heads up, I mean, that's where the real money is, right? In any of the tournaments, especially some of these top heavy ones. That's where you need to play real well. And if you don't know how to play shorthanded like that, you're just going to get run over and crushed, honestly. And so it's just such a valuable experience to play shorthanded and heads up if you want to be any kind of a good poker player and make good money. So a lot of people just don't have that experience, but you're just, you know, I wish they wouldn't even offer chops. Just play it out, because you gain so much experience playing it out. I played heads up in a tournament a month and a half ago, and I won the tournament for main event seed. I played another one where I was heads up again, and I came in second. I learned from that, I think. Yeah, I did. And then this was like 5-handed again. Just, they're so valuable to be good at this stuff. I mean, an example, when you're heads up, let's say you have a bottom pair, or not even bottom pair, let's say a gut shot and a backdoor flush draw, which ain't shit. Well, heads up, you should play that. That's good enough against a good opponent. So if you don't know that, you wouldn't know that if you don't play heads up at all and have any experience heads up. So you really need to be gaining that experience. So, and yeah. So just don't underestimate that experience. You know, play it out if you can, and it'll make you a much better player. The other thing that's good about learning heads up, and I really want to study, I want to get Doug Polk's heads up class. Another thing that's really good about getting better heads up is when you get on blind versus blind battles in the tournaments. You know, you get the blind versus blind, that's heads up. I mean, usually, you know, if you raise in the small blind, he's in the big blind, they call 90% of the time, right? They just, rarely are you going to take it down because everyone knows to defend your blind. So now you are out of position heads up. And do you have experience? Do you know how to play? Do you know what to bet? Do you know what check raises to call? Or are you just, well, I'm going to have a pair, otherwise I'm just folding? I mean, that's just really good experience to have. So don't underestimate that experience if you get into that spot. Play it out if you can. And yeah, that's all I got to say. I did cost myself a couple grand, but I gained some good experience. Don't be mad at people that don't want to chop. I didn't want to chop because I felt it was the right thing for me to do financially. And boy, everyone was pissed off. I guess I doesn't want to chop. Fucking grow up. There shouldn't even be chops allowed in tournaments. You know, you play it out and then you can do some side deal if you want, but you play it out. It's always the people that are not good players that are going to have a big fucking problem and heads up. I mean, when it got to a point now where this guy to my left, we both had like $1 million in chips, and all of a sudden he's got $2.5 million, and I only got 500,000. And they're asking, I'm gonna chop. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll chop this time. Well, he didn't want to chop now. I'm like, well, I understand. I totally understand. He didn't have a skill edge, but he had a huge chip edge, and he was really bullying people. So I don't blame him one bit. So people shouldn't blame me and get all pissy like that Carlos guy did. You don't get pissy on the lady I was pissed off. You know, like, dude, it's part of the game. There's nothing wrong with not wanting to chop, and you shouldn't give people shit because they don't want to chop, period. Grow up. It's part of the game. They should never even allow chops, in my opinion, in tournaments. That way there's no bickering and bullshit and, oh, he didn't want to do this. You know, there's none of that shit if there's, you know, the floor just says, look, no chops, you're playing it out. So, and that's again why I like a really better structure. When Bad River, I think in the top final table, it was jumping up 2,000 each hand. So it was like 2,000 for 9th, 4,000 for 8th, 6,000 for 7th, 10,000 for, you know, it was slowly jumping up. So it made sense to not chop because it wasn't really that big a discrepancy. Unlike Shelbyville, which is less than 1,000 for 9th and 10,000 for 1st, which is asinine. Now you understand why people chop, because it's just such a ridiculous discrepancy. If they just had a better payout structure, I don't think you'd have everyone wanting to chop as much for the money, because it doesn't make a lot of sense to. I mean, you know, you can bump up a couple spots, and, you know, you go up a little bit, but it's not some drastic amount, like 10 times difference between 1st and 9th, which is the way Shelbyville has their things. There's a lot of things I don't like about the Shelbyville tournaments, which is why I rarely play them. So I wish they knew how to get their act together. And I make the suggestions to them all the time. It seems like they just ignore me. I'm like, dude, I'm trying to help you guys. But anyway, that's it. I blabbed on enough. All right, guys. PokerPro.us.com if you want to see me go through some of the spots I was in today. And talk to you later.